but I got a lot of kids. The kids are in my house. That's my responsibility. I took them in proud. I don't even call myself a stepdad. People say, why would you want to be a stepdad? Well, I'm not a fucking stepdad. I'm a dad. Okay. So I took these kids in my arms. And these are my children, and you can't tell me no different. So that's just what it is, man. And I think it's the greatest joy you'll ever have as a human being. You know,
What's going on, Rebel family? All you revolutionary minded people out there. Today's video, the Disney dad that stepped up. But before we get to the video, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the channel. So today's video comes courtesy Disney UK released a trailer for a new movie that looks like it should be out around for the holiday season. And um, that video has caused quite a stir on social media, and it actually seems to be like a propaganda piece in terms of Disney UK is a very liberal company, and if they're putting money behind this to make it an animated film of this magnitude, there is some form of an agenda going on, and we'll take a look at some of that in just a second. But um, the dynamic the dynamic is very funny in terms of who they chose to be a stepdad and the wife and the stepkids and so forth, right? So let's go ahead and jump into the video in case you haven't seen it. We'll go ahead and play that video right now. And it has some guy singing, so I don't want to get a copyright strike here, so I'm just going to play the visuals and we'll take a look at this. So now, to give some background, this is a series of movies that Disney UK has produced in the past few years. The woman there, she actually was in another film, and they kind of alluded to it and showed the picture. She's a Filipino woman. She was the granddaughter, and it focused around her grandmother and her relationship with her grandmother, and her grandmother passed on, and now she's older and she has her own children. And we just saw a picture of, I guess, the father of those kids must have died or something or what have you. I'm not sure exactly what happened here, but so they have a black man married to a Filipino woman, and with her, he's the stepfather to her kids. And it's very interesting. I'm wondering why they didn't choose a white man as the husband, right? Why did they choose the black man, especially in the UK, right? Why choose the black man as opposed to another race, right? Um, so we see here this kind of going through, and this is his first Christmas with this family, and I guess he's trying to fit into what they are doing, but to me, it kind of looks like this dude is the help. I mean, is this the male version of the help?
You is smart, you is kind, you is important.
You is smart, you is kind, you is important. You got it. Just showing this dude doing all this housework, and um, just it looks like it looks like he was actually a hired hand to come in and do some housework here. But anyway, the trailer goes on, and let's see what else I got in this trailer. I've seen, did he bring the dog? This guy sleeping on the couch. I can expect that there will be no like real intimate scenes between he and the mother. They're not going to promote that, but they will show him interact with the kids. But then I doubt very seriously they'll show him interact with the mother in any form of fashion like a husband and wife would. That would go against the narrative, right? So that is it for the trailer there. And here on the thumbnail, it's this movement going around that, I'm not a stepdad. I'm the dad that stepped up. And I started it off by playing a video of our resident favorite stepdad in these YouTube streets, Dr. Boyce Watkins. And and it's not to beat up on Boyce. I don't want to turn this into a Boyce video or anything. Boyce says since chilled out, but I'm gonna play that video again by Boyce and just he it seems as if he's a part of this movement as well. But I'm not the dad. I'm not a stepdad. I'm the dad that stepped up. It's hilarious.
But I got a lot of kids. The kids are in my house. That's my responsibility. I took them in proud. I don't even call myself a stepdad. People say, why would you want to be a stepdad? Well, I'm not a fucking stepdad. I'm a dad. Okay. So I took these kids in my arms. And these are my children. And you can't tell me no different. So that's just what it is, man. And I think it's the greatest joy you'll ever have as a human being. You know,
Okay, so Boyce is saying the greatest joy that you'll ever have as a human being, I guess, is to be a stepdad, more so than being a father. But like I said, I'm not gonna turn this into a Boyce video. I promise. I'm gonna I'm gonna refrain from going in on Boyce. Boyce has he's made sort of a turn now. He's actually admitting how difficult it is to be a stepfather, and he's stating some of the obvious, which a lot of people were trying to tell him when he was on this crusade to shame black men into marrying women with kids and becoming stepfathers without actually explaining, especially to the young men, that there are a lot of risks associated with becoming a stepdad. And he he wouldn't explain those risks, as opposed to just, being honest and saying, hey, look, there's some things that come with being a stepfather, right? there's some there's some obvious risks associated. These are not your kids. Well, there's risk on both sides. Let me just be fair, right? There's risk from the mother's standpoint that this person could come in and harm your kids if you're not careful, if you don't vet the people carefully, right? We've seen a lot of situations to where kids were murdered by the mother's boyfriend or the stepdad or the her new husband or the boyfriend, and so on and so forth. And so it's a risk to the kids, and it's also a risk to the stepdad, because you come in, the kids don't like you, and then they make some accusations against you. You're gonna have to prove yourself innocent, or that you're gonna have to prove yourself not being guilty, as opposed to being innocent and then proven guilty. You're gonna have to, it's the other way around, that you have to prove yourself innocent, because you're found guilty as soon as the kid says something. And everyone always says, why would the kid lie, right? Like, as if kids don't lie. If anybody has children, been around children, we know that children will lie. So it is what it is. But I'm going to jump over. So there's some risk involved on both sides. But Boyce, he wasn't saying that. He was just talking about how great it was, and you got to be a man, and that real man stuff, and you know black men just weren't having that, and it finally shut Boyce up. And like I said, he's actually changed his tune somewhat, right? He's actually, you know, off of the um, you have to be a stepdad and so forth and so on. So just doing a simple search, right? It's apparent to me. Can my stepdad adopt me? And this is fatherresource.org, right? And just looking up, you just type in, stepfather or stepdad or what have you, it begins to become clear what agenda they're pushing here, right? And this dynamic is weird here. So you have a white woman, you have a black man. I don't know if, like that's his kid from another relationship because that kid looks older than the one in his lap, but that kid doesn't look like he's mixed. So this dynamic is weird, right? This isn't just the only web page that I saw like this, right? Here's another one, divorcemag.com. A stepfather's guide to Father's Day. 8 tips to try. Look at this one here. My goodness. This brother is just, he has the whitest family ever, right? Now, I don't know if this is to do this so it's a clear contrast that, okay, obviously he's a stepdad with kids that look this way, right? But, you know, searching, just typing in stepdad, stepfather, there's so many of the I'm not the father, I'm not the stepdad, I'm the father that stepped up, and I'm the dad who stepped up, and all this kind of stuff, and so forth and so on. But anyway, so let's jump over here. Why Disney's Christmas ad, The Stepdad, is a new chapter for a familiar family. So this is what I was talking about earlier. Uh, Gregory Porter is the guy who's singing the song or whatever. But it says that it follows the family of what is this lady's name? Nicole or whatever. Revisiting Nicole creates what's known as a fluid device. Nicole is older and has 2 children of her own. This thing has been seen by 106 million. Has 106 million views. Oh no, years campaign. Okay, this is the one 2020. The tale of Nicole and her grandmother. And now it's some years later, and you know, this guy is fitting into Nicole's family, right? And I'm not gonna go through and read all this, but it's clear. Here's the original film that this one follows. That it's following Nicole, who is now the mother of 2 children, and so forth and so on. But I'm not gonna go through all that. But it's clear that there's some kind of agenda cooking here when you when you choose a black man, because typically, does this happen? You know, it's hard to say, but nonetheless, I guess the father passed on in this one, so that makes it real convenient that the father's gone, so some other guy comes in and steps in and takes over the role. You know, Disney movie ending, right? But there's some real risks associated with marrying or um, you know becoming a stepfather, and all most people ever said was just be fair and tell the risks associated, as well as all of the things that Boyce was saying. It's the greatest joy ever. I can't even I can't even see how he can state that when he has a daughter. But again, like I said, this is not about Boyce. It's hard not to. Boyce is Boyce is chilled out on his foolishness, so we'll leave Boyce alone. But you know, um, my final thoughts really just it really depends if you're going to be a stepfather. I'm not telling anybody what to do. Just understand all of the risks associated with becoming a stepfather. There is always the potential for the children to be harmed if you're a woman and you have the kids. I would say if you really that committed, go ahead and send the kids with their father. If you want to go ahead and get remarried, you got young children or what have you, go ahead and send them over there with their father. Father can take care of them, and then you could visit, and you can have them visit, and you and the new husband can build and really establish yourselves without the added pressure of having kids right in the house with you. You know what I mean? So it's very. But as a young man, I wouldn't advise it. For a young man that doesn't have any children, I wouldn't advise it. I would advise that you find a young woman around, a young woman that's compatible with you, whatever that is. You have to figure that out, and build your own family, build your own legacy, and give yourself an opportunity to build your marriage or bond or whatever it is with that woman first, with no outside anything, because you're gonna have to have that strong foundation Because once kids come, the stress is tripled, or if not quadrupled, especially the more kids you have. So, obviously, get on your purpose and get on your grind, and build yourself up first before you, really get serious about settling down. But then once you start to settle down, I mean, it's just easier to build that strong bond with a woman first, and have her understanding that, it's about us. If kids come, it's still about us first, because that's the backbone of the family. The marriage is the backbone of the family. And I did a video earlier about a man who basically talked about how um, his birthday sucked, and the woman forgot about the bond is about me and the husband, and it's like everything else. It's you know, and women may tend to do this, and it may be a subconscious that they will put the kids first because they become a mother, things change, but you have to be they have to be reminded that, hey, our bond comes first. You know, because as long as we stay strong, that's better for the kids, as opposed to us, forgetting our relationship and then only focusing on the kids. We lose that strong bond, and that's going to hurt the kids if we ever, call it quits. So again, those are my final thoughts, brothers. Um, use discernment whenever you get into the situation. Don't be shamed by people like Boyce or this agenda here. This agenda is dangerous because young kids see this and think, oh, the best way to be is to be a stepfather, right? Young boys will see this and, oh, okay, I want to be a stepfather. Listen to Boyce and these guys. Oh, stepfather's the greatest thing ever. It's the greatest thing in life, and so forth, right? So we have to caution our young men, and have to caution the women also with, you know, making sure you pick correctly when you're going to, get pregnant and have a baby, right? Because we all know women who were, for the lack of a better word, hoes when we were in high school. I knew some of the biggest hoes, they never got pregnant, right? And then some of the quote unquote good girls, they will wind up getting pregnant. Like, why is this? Why is the one who's having all the sex, the girl having all the sex in school, not wind up pregnant? But the one who, quote unquote, is a good girl gets pregnant or whatever, right? She's not, she has no discernment, and probably, met a dude and fell all in love, and then, whatever. But, women who don't want to get pregnant, I don't care how out there they are, they don't get pregnant. So, and for and then it goes both ways, right? Young men, we know men are at a disadvantage when it comes to reproductive rights. So hey, look, don't put yourself in that hole. Don't put yourself in that ditch and get a woman pregnant, and you have no say so and so forth. It's just a wrong move. But anyway, those are my final thoughts. Peace, Rebel family.